excited as most of us are to indulge on Thanksgiving, some of those sauces and gravies can be hard to digest. Joining us with ways to prevent upset stomachs during all our upcoming dinners and parties is board-certified gastroenterologist Dr. Roshini Raj. Thanks for joining us, Dr. Raj.
Thank you so much. I'm excited to talk about the holidays.
Yes, well, I think a lot of us, I know I do, wear elastic band clothing on Thanksgiving so our stomachs can grow comfortably, but we don't think about getting those upset stomachs. What can we do to stop that?
Well, as you said, a lot of us kind of anticipate having perhaps a little bit of an upset stomach after that big Thanksgiving meal, but for some people it can really go beyond that. And if you're noticing that you're having frequent bloating, abdominal pain, gas, maybe even diarrhea, this could be a sign of an underlying GI condition like EPI, for example, and it may be time to talk to your doctor about it.
Now, what is that? Can you go into detail about that and what people need to know?
Sure. So EPI stands for exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, and that really refers to a condition where your pancreas is not producing sufficient amounts of digestive enzymes, the enzymes that we need to properly digest our food. So if you're not digesting your food properly, you may experience bloating and gas, pain, diarrhea, sometimes even weight loss. And these are symptoms that many of us feel from time to time. But if you're feeling it frequently or persistently, it could be a sign of EPI or another GI condition. There's a website, identifyepi.com, that has a lot of great information. But also just talking to your doctor about these symptoms is very important to really tease out, is this more of an occasional thing or is this something I really need to be concerned about?
Right. Over the holidays, is there a way we can prepare our stomachs? Is it appropriate to talk to the hosts of parties beforehand and mention any dietary constraints?
I think it's very appropriate, and sometimes people feel a little bit shy about discussing those things, but these days, honestly, so many people have their special diets or their dietary restrictions, and giving your host or hostess fair warning, I think, is actually the polite thing to do, letting them know beforehand. And I think it's always a nice thing to volunteer to bring a dish that you can eat so that the onus is not all on them. They already have a lot on their plate if they're hosting a big dinner or party, but really thinking about it beforehand is a good idea, so that you're not faced with a situation where you're starving and there's nothing that you can really eat comfortably. And speaking of starving, another good tip, sometimes people do starve themselves all day before a big meal, thinking that that will then allow them to eat more when they get to the party, and that's not a good idea. You really want to have a solid base of food in your stomach before you go to one of these big meals or the buffet table, because then you're less likely to overindulge and really, eat those rich, heavy foods in large amounts that's going to make you feel unwell later.
Right, very good advice. Are there any foods in particular and creams that we should avoid over the holidays?
I really believe moderation is the key, so there's not one particular food that you should never have, once in a while during the holidays. But yes, the dairy, the rich, creamy sauces and things can certainly cause a little bit of bloating or discomfort, particularly, of course, if you have an issue with lactose, you have to be careful. But for anyone, if you're just not used to having that amount of dairy, the cheeses and the sauces, you might want to kind of not necessarily never have them, but make sure you're doing it in moderation.
Absolutely. Everything in moderation. Is there a website you can send people for more information?
Yes, there is. It's identifyepi.com.
Perfect. Thank you so much for your time. Happy holidays.
Thank you. Happy holidays to you.
Thanks so much. And you can always find more information about this segment on our website, fox4morningblend.com.